So this is Go. I think this is live on YouTube, and maybe we can start by talking a little bit about what happened on Saturday, because you are student Juliana today, but actually on Saturdays now you are teacher Juliana.
Right. Yes, I had a beginner lesson
Oh
that I
wow,
taught on Saturday, and it went really well, I think. There were probably about 10 people. We talked about the bare necessities. We talked about some
of life.
simple chords and strumming. Yes. The bare necessities of life obviously include a ukulele.
That's great because you are now on the patron, Ukulele Road Trips patron, giving weekly lessons open to all patrons at 12:30 Eastern, which hopefully is a good enough time for most people. Sorry, Australia, but the rest should be able to join fairly comfortably. That's great. Intuitively, I would have said that bare necessities is sort of beginner to beginning of intermediate kind of level. That song. Having
Yes, well, it is hard to sing and play it at the same time. We didn't get that far.
you just had a
So
look
we
at the
did,
chords.
yeah, and then so I sang it and played it, and then they played along with the chords.
Oh, great!
But
And
they
if
didn't
people
sing and
want
play
to,
it at the same time because that's a little harder, I think.
that's more than twice as hard actually. Because you're doing two things, but at the same time, so it's probably four times as hard. And if people want to join the beginning lessons to help kickstart their ukulele adventure, then they can join you by being a patron. And then there's the link shared in the posts, which is fairly nice. What are you doing next time? Any ideas?
Yes, we're going to be talking about the Rainbow Connection by Kermit the Frog, but not the version that you did, which is very difficult, just an easier version,
Oh, that's a shame.
which is what I'm going to be playing at the ukulele strum along on
Play along. Yeah.
play along, right, next Saturday.
Oh wow.
So everyone will be prepared who comes to the beginner lesson to play along with me for that.
Ah, perfect. Wait. Oh yeah, because it's the same day, of course. It's just
Right.
after. Ah, very smart. So you're gearing up your own newfound students to sort of boost your support in the UPA, the ukulele play along, this
Right.
Sunday. Right, and it's open to all patrons also to sign up to lead a song, which is good news. Juliana, do you know what the last collection to date on the Patreon is?
You mean the Space Songs
Yeah,
collection?
it's Space Songs. Space Songs. Absolutely. I wanted to have a look at the song by Muse in the Space Songs collection because there's a very interesting. Well, there's lots of very interesting key changes, plural, in. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
That's the Knights of Cydonia?
In the Night of Cydonia, one of the best Muse songs ever. So that's one of the best songs ever, actually. I heard that you've been working on the metal rock solo yourself on the ukulele, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like I have not I it can't be what you asked me to do because it doesn't sound that great.
Oh no,
I must have misunderstood what you asked me to do. I don't know.
so playing heavy rock riffs on the ukulele never sounds like the recording, but it's kind of fun to do. It's like a fun little challenge. Basically, what's going on is right. This one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So you're quite high up on the fretboard, but you're also using the open strings of E and A because the riff is in the key of E. How does that sound? Your
I don't
sound.
think I used
Your
any
sound.
open A's.
Oh, you have to pull off the fret 7.
Oh, I was doing a 5 on the.
Ah, right. Okay. But it's nice to use the open A because actually it's a bit of a wink to what's happening in the original song because there he is using the low open A of the guitar and pulling it off. Instead of playing like this, if you play and pull off, you'll get a louder sound because of the open string. And there's also something about instead of a ti ta ta ta, it's ti ga da da, ti ga da da. It's a bit the same way. It's it feels more natural to go tagadagi-digi-digi-digam instead of ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta or gi-gi-gi-gi, the same consonant all the time. Well, it's the same with sometimes plucking very fast. It's nice if it's not all... Oh. It gives a different liaison to certain notes. Do you want to play a tiny bit of the riff, or play your version of the riff, and then we'll have a look at the chords and talk a little bit today for the next, next 10 minutes, we'll talk key changes. Really good job.
Would have been easier with an open A there, actually.
But the thing is, it's not ta-ta-ta-tam, it's tagadadam. It's not ta-ta-ta-tam, it's tagadadam. It's note, pull off, note, note. All the time, pretty much, like... And here...
Wait, not for that. Wait, how are you playing this?
Hammer on. And...
Oh, you're playing that higher.
There you go, and now you tagadadam, tagadadam, instead of takata-tatatam, tatatatam, it's tagadadam, tagadadam. So always pluck, either pull off or hammer on, pluck, pluck. And there also ta-da-da-dee-da. Here also. Or here. Okay, well, I'm glad we sorted that out. Everybody must be thinking, of course, that's what I've been doing wrong when I've been playing Knights of Cydonia riff on my ukulele. And they must be thinking, how has nobody mentioned this before? Is what I think they're thinking.
Undoubtedly.
Let me share the screen. I don't know if you've got it in front of you. And so that way everybody can see it. Not just the advanced student, that is Juliana. Share screen, share screen, share screen. It's not working? Is it working? It's working. Okay, so actually this part is the... or something like that. Sounds like the song, doesn't it? Seamless, yeah. I think. It sounded like Matt. But then we want to go with what I call the... we might have a look at this in the intermediate lesson 2 on Friday, actually, because it's quite nice to spend a bit of time on what I call the gallop, or the horse strum, which is very practical for anything horse-based. But actually what I want to have a look at with you is the key changes here. Because we've got a bit that starts with E minor, but we end with a C minor. And then we've got a bit with a C minor, but we end with an A flat minor, which is the same thing as a G sharp minor. But then we start with that, and we end with, well, I'll spoil it, with an E minor. So we go full circle. What is going on? It's kind of amazing. But we've got E minor, E flat. Now, do you remember, in our lessons before they were live streamed to, millions, we talked about 2 different chords that tend to lead to a chord and that can be very practical in key changes. What I mean by that is 2 types of chords that really sound like they're leading somewhere, and you can use a specific chord to take you somewhere else. Do you remember what those chords are?
The 7th and the minor 6th?
Yeah, the 7th or the minor 6th. But really, actually, a dominant chord, just a major chord sometimes is enough. You don't need the 7. So, for example, if you're in C, and you want to go in E flat, sometimes you don't need the 7, you can still use just a major chord. And that major chord takes you to another major chord just because of the way it arrives in the song. And also, the minor 6, it's not necessarily the minor 6, but it's a minor chord that is the subdominant. So if the subdominant, or if a minor chord, you use it as a minor subdominant, it can take you somewhere else. That's kind of abstract, probably. Is that abstract for you?
I think that makes sense. You're saying the...
So for example, the subdominant is +4 and the dominant is +5. For example,
Right.
in D, the dominant is what in the key of D major?
D, E, F, G, A.
Right. D dominant, which leads us back to D. So the D and the A is the D's friend that brings us back to the D. What's the subdominant in D?
D, E, F, G.
G. Well, what if that subdominant is minor? It becomes what we talked about, the Christmas chord.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be a minor 6. It could just be a minor.
It doesn't have to be a minor 6. It could just be a minor. Just minor 6 makes it sound even more like that, I find, in certain cases. And the 7 also of an A.
Right.
With 7 makes it sound even more like it leads back to the D. But it doesn't always. Sometimes, music is free. You can go wherever you like. But it's just a lot of the time, these chords can be used in this context. It'll be interesting to know who's getting this. I think I'd be. But again, the purpose of this lesson is to make sure that you come to the intermediate lesson on the Fridays or the beginner lessons of the Saturdays, right? Because there's also Zoom lessons. And this is the advanced lesson that triggers that thought, oh, I should probably go to the intermediate one, which is a great idea because they're lots of fun. For example, you're in C, but you want to go to D. You can either use the dominant, C, A7, D, or C, A, and I'm in D now. Or you could use the subdominant minor 4. What's that, Juliana?
G minor?
G minor. Now I'm in C, but now I'm in D.
So the interesting thing about this
cool?
is that so it doesn't matter where you're coming from. You
Right.
can do the
Exactly.
dominant 7 or the minor
Let's play a
or
game.
from any.
You say any major chord, and then you say any key that I should go into, and I will use the subdominant minor chord to move from that first key to that second key using the bridge of the subdominant minor. Go. Any chord, any key, or a chord, major chord.
Okay, E.
E. So we are in E. This is home. This is home for now. But where are we going to go?
D.
We're going to go to D. Okay. So now I'm in E. I'm now in D. And now I'm in D. It really sounds like we've changed the key. And now, all of a sudden, what we call home, which is the key we are in, has changed. Also, I helped a bit with my voice because I know what to do to make it sound like that a little bit. But it's still like that just with the ukulele. E, G minor, D. So, this is a great way to change keys sometimes, and that's what they're doing, of course. They know that because Matt Bellamy, the guy from Muse, has played lots of Rachmaninoff, and there's plenty of that in there. So let me share the screen again. Or Tchaikovsky, or Rachmaninoff. No, Rachmaninoff. I can't remember. Anyway, but there's a lot of classical music in there. There's even an album where they just got an opera, a bit of an opera from a French guy. Interesting. It's a fun fact. Great song. So I'm gonna play, and you tell me when we're changing key. You stop me when we're changing key, and you get a point. And if you miss one, you lose a point.
I still don't know.
What key are we in for the first line here?
Either E minor or G.
Yeah, E minor G, but it's the same. Potato, potato, basically. E
And
minor
this
G.
is probably the key change when you do the B.
No, it's not actually. That's a trap. It's not a key change. You're on -1 now. That is not a key change. It's a bit like it's just a color from somewhere else that comes in, but then leaves, and then you're back where you were. It's a bit like a quick, really flashy fever dream, but then, oh no, actually I am still on my
So
sofa.
it could just be considered a very quick key change that immediately changes back.
No, because it's just for one chord, and one chord is not enough to call it. It's not even one chord leading to another chord, like two chords linking up. It's just one chord that comes in like ha ha, and then leaves, and then you're back in G. So it's not a key change.
But if it's not in the key of E minor or G.
But it's still not a key change. It's called un emprunt, which means it's called a borrowing. You borrow a chord from somewhere else for a quick little dash of color. A bit like if you're painting a sunset, but then you have it like a dash of green or something. You're borrowing a color that doesn't belong there, but it's nice. It adds something. But it's not a key change. You're not painting in green all of a sudden. So first line. G. That could be considered the dominant of E minor, the B. But actually, we avoid the resolution, B to E minor, go to a C. And that's actually not a key change because we're on the A sharp here. To go back to the So it's kind of a nice arrangement, but it's not a key change.
Okay, C minor then?
That's not a key change because if the C minor is a subdominant minor, of what chord is the C minor a subdominant minor of?
You mean if it's the 4?
Yeah, if it's the 4 of somebody, who's that somebody?
G, A, B, C, G?
Yeah, G. So we're not changing key, are we?
I don't think there are any key changes here. I think you lied to me.
There are no key changes for the moment. That is correct. But I also have not lied. Wait, but this is where it gets interesting. So, subdominant minor, to go back to the one which is the G. Now this is you -2 now because that's where it's happening. So we're borrowing. So basically, a bit like the color of the C minor came in, but led us back to home. But then we're using that color again, slightly different context, to take us to the E flat. And the G here.
You're saying that E flat is a different key?
And now we are in E flat.
Even though we already had an E flat earlier.
Yes, now it's the key.
Even though we already had an E flat with a G after it.
No, I heard what you said. But look, listen, it's. We're still in G. This is still home. Still home. This, but then. But now we're playing a G. This is no longer home. Actually, the G here is the 3rd degree of the new key E flat. It leads us to a C minor or avoided cadenza A flat. And now resolution C minor. We are in E flat C minor, but that's the same thing. E flat C minor, potato potato, right? Because it's like C and A minor. We have the same chords in C and in A minor pretty much, apart from the A7. So here too we are in the key of E flat C minor. They're buddies. It's how many? Do you know how many flats that is on the stave on the thing with the squiggles?
E flat?
Yeah.
2?
Close. It's
3?
It's 3. Now we're in C minor, and you can see what we've changed the key, and we could say going down a major third from E to C is a major third. So it's only natural that if we do the same thing again exactly, we're going to go down to the key of, and I'm hiding it so you can figure it out.
A flat?
Yeah, A flat. And what if we do from A flat again, where we're going to land?
F,
Well, F to A flat is actually a minor third, but we're going with, right?
E.
E. E to A flat or E to G sharp is a minor third. So that's really cool because by playing exactly the same thing 3 times, they change the key 3 times, but land back on their feet to an E minor. That is really cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
I
just to
guess so.
point out to if anybody's still watching, which is, not sure, we've spent a lot of time in our private lessons talking about these things, and I've spent a lot of time leading you through these kind of things so that this could make sense today. But people can also come to the intermediate lessons, and after a few years, they'll be able to be as bright and sharp as you with the flats. See what I did there? That's kind of funny.
I mean, I think I got most of those answers wrong, so.
That's not the point. The point is
Right,
not
so I mean,
to
I don't think anybody has to like.
no, but the point is not to get it right. It's to understand what I'm what's going on. If you get it right
Right,
already, there'd be no point for the lesson. I believe.
right.
So good job for getting it wrong and understanding. That's perfect. Perfect. Right, and then in C minor, make a noise when the key changes. Good job.
It's not the B, but
Yeah,
I'm not. I mean, I only know that because it's the same place as before. It doesn't sound like there's a particular more of a change than the other changes. Like I don't
ah,
hear there being a key change there.
I understand. It's because it's all going a bit left and right, and actually, it's a bit like somebody dipping their toe into a pool, coming back out of the pool, and then dipping their leg again and jumping. Because here we dip the toe, and here we dip the toe again, but come back out, and this time we jump into the new pool. So it's all a bit mixed. So it's a bit academic. Change really start, but actually it's here. It's here.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, and if you do that a
Is
few
that
times, you get back to E. And then what
is
happens when you've done the full circle and you come back to E? We're also coming full circle in the lesson. We play the riff,
oh, right.
right? So full circle song, and here in the Zoom. So,
Is,
um,
is that why you like this song?
no, I like it because it's very horse-like, and
Because I listened to it and I was not too impressed.
oh, I like it because of the key. Yeah, I love these chords, and I love the way it changes the key, and I love the melody in regards to the chord changes. Big fan. I wrote a song like that actually ages ago about a guy on a horse, and it sounded a bit like that, but without the key changes. This is so much better. So that's why I like the song very much. Um, I love these chords when it goes. It's so seamless. It's so seamless. People who don't know too much about music wouldn't say, there's something changing here in the landscape. Not really. It's just kind of the adventure, swerving and turning. Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody who watched this Zoom. I hope maybe you got a few little things from it. And this is the advanced lesson with Juliana, who's been playing ukulele and talking about chords for a very long time. And there's also an intermediate lesson on Fridays at what time? 6? At 6. And Juliana, you're giving beginner lessons on Saturdays now. So feel free to
Right.
join the Patreon to join that. Do you have a space quote to end the lesson? Something about traveling
A
out of
space
space?
quote?
Space quote. It should have been a small step for a man.
Oh yeah, yeah. But he says that he did say that. So I think it's just the static kind of.
Right. Blame the moon to Earth transmission.
Well, because it's not the kind of mistake that a
Right, maybe
a
it
native
went.
English speaker would make, right? You're not going to Okay,
Right,
sorry,
it's a bit like
sorry. You shouldn't have brought that up.
it's a bit like small step for man, and it took his A away.
Right.
Right. Oh, I'm still sharing the screen. Okay, bye bye everybody.